Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And welcome to the Crisis Club Mailbag episodes, as you guys know, because you guys all support us on patreon.com/Jawiin. Thank you so much. We're taking your questions, talking about Crisis, and we try to do this as a live stream, and YouTube sucks. So that's why we're here.
Well, it's less that...
I like this better, actually.
And it's more that Patreon has to deal with a different video streaming service.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so that's why you can't hook up your live streams anymore.
Right,
So it's much harder.
I can't say screw you, Patreon, because...
We love Patreon.
They made this happen.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we have a bunch of questions from all of you, all the super friends out there. We're going to answer them, talking about Crisis and all these stuffs.
Yes, so the first question comes from Adam Grunther, who asks, question, since there are 2 more episodes of Arrow's final season after the crossover, do you think that Oliver will die in Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yes!
Theory. If we see an Earth being destroyed by the Anti-Monitor, it will probably be Earth 2. In Season 2, Cisco vibes to Earth 2 being destroyed by what is apparently Zoom's menace. I think that this will happen, but at the hands of the Anti-Monitor.
How spoilery can we get on these, Ashley?
Well, this is going to come out like 2 days after we film it.
Okay, spoilers.
If it's something that someone has already put out in a photo or a press release, I think...
No, this has already happened in an episode of Arrow.
Oh, then I think...
Happened 2 weeks ago.
We're going to talk about something that happened in Arrow. If you haven't watched Arrow, skip forward like a minute.
Yeah. Earth 2 was just destroyed by an anti-monitor wave in the season opener of Arrow, the final season of Arrow. So, yes, you're correct.
Some of these questions were asked before that episode
Spoilers
aired,
over. Yes, I know. That's fair. And again, we're going to make predictions on stuff that probably will be completely upended or turned. We're in the nitty-gritty, guys. We're
leading right up to it.
We're leading into it. It's going to happen.
Moss Russell says, who will play the role of Harbinger, and what will that role be? For example, when they asked this, because we did call for questions in September.
Cisco Ramon.
But one of the things I did actually have down for us to talk about is news, because it was news when we were first creating this list, was we know Audrey Marie Anderson is playing Harbinger. We've seen the costume. It's amazing. We talked about it on the Twitter.
More final season of Arrow spoilers.
Sure.
There is a scene in the second episode of Arrow with the Monitor,
LaMonica Garrett,
and Lila. Yeah. And there's kind of a weird impression that maybe the Monitor has been showing up to Lila her entire life. Mm-hmm. It's not just because of now, which I think is neat.
Well, when Lila was first introduced, her code name was Harbinger.
So there's an idea that they might have been making her, like she might have known about this crisis for her entire life, and now it's just being activated. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting Lila stuff. I'm very excited that she's going to be Harbinger, and her costume looks badass.
And if you're familiar with our Arrow reviews, you know that we love Audrey Marie Anderson, so any opportunity to see more of her.
She's great, and I don't just say that because she follows me on Twitter.
Great. She's great. Tim Tang asks, how do you feel about the comics legacy of Crisis on Infinite Earths? Particularly, how do you feel about the appearance of multiple monitors in Final Crisis? The monitor seemed so singular in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so Final Crisis, if you don't know, is probably most famous for being the crisis that killed Batman.
Yes.
And there are multiple monitors who show up in it. And I really, really like it when Grant Morrison does big world expansive things. However, I agree with Tim's observation that the monitor did feel singular in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I kind of like a universe where the monitor and the anti-monitor never show up again after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well, don't read any current Justice League.
I'm not. So,
you're not missing anything.
In my headcanon, because ultimately make your own continuity, we have that on a t-shirt. Maybe I'll put a link to it in the show notes if I remember.
I love that phrase.
Ultimately, for me, no matter what the story says on the page, the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, we never see them again after Crisis, because I think they're only impactful in that story. I think it's too weird to have them showing up again. Is that it?
Oh, no, I thought you were going to keep going.
No, sorry. What do you think?
I like the multiple monitors.
Yeah?
I do. And the reason why I like them is because Final Crisis is part 3 of a Crisis trilogy. Mm-hmm. Actually, Final Crisis is part 4 of a quadrilogy. Because Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis. Okay, my fingers don't work. Final Crisis. Ashley, do you know what this is? Would you know what part 2 of the Crisis quadrology I consider?
No.
0 Hour, baby!
Oh, yeah.
Called A Crisis in Time. 0 Hour, A Crisis in Time. Great event, one of my favorite DC events. Anyways,
Well, we could have covered them in Crisis Club Year 2, but you all didn't vote for that.
yes.
So maybe next year.
I'm telling you, there's a Omnibus Spotlight. You know, on the Greek Heroes, we have action figure spotlight. Omnibus Spotlight. There's a 0 Hour omnibus that just came out.
In the show notes.
Oh my god, I want it.
Yeah?
I want it so bad. Even though I
Send it to our P.O. box.
even though I just bought the hardcover, I kind of want it because it has all of the it has all the Zero issues. It has everything. 0 Hour is the event that made me love the DC universe.
Yeah?
It really is. So, when you think about Final Crisis as part of this lineage, to me, with each event, you want to do something different, get bigger. Like the big event for Infinite Crisis was the fact that the Monitor was still around.
Yes.
Like everybody was like, "What? We haven't seen this guy for like 25 years."
And look, his haircut is exactly the same.
And then Grant Morrison introduced the idea that the multiverse was reborn in Infinite Crisis, and that when it was reborn, there is a monitor for every of the 52 Earths.
At least with Morrison, he bothered to explain why. He didn't just do it because it was cool.
And they're all different. So, like, one of them is female, one of them is younger.
The female
one
monitor
of them
does look pretty cool.
Yeah. And so Final Crisis is all about Nick's Utoan, who is the younger monitor, and he becomes the lead. I like that idea. I kind of dig it. I understand the point, but to go back to your first part of your question, what is the legacy
Tim's question.
of Crisis on Infinite Earths? There's a reason why they keep making crises or make heroes in crises.
It's the greatest comic book event of all time.
There's a fair argument. We just recently reread it all, and it totally stands up.
Yeah.
It really does. That's the legacy. It was the first comic book reboot official ever. It was the first, I think, galaxy spanning. Like every title in DC Universe was expected by this, and it was good. So there you go.
Yeah. Lee Carter asks, what smaller character in DC Comics do you think stood out in the Crisis comic, or was there a character you became a fan of because of this comic?
I don't know if there's a character that I became a fan of, but a character that stands out to me, I would say, is probably Dr. Light.
The new Dr. Light.
Yeah,
Lady
the one they
Light.
introduced,
Yes.
Lady Dr. Light. Yeah,
Japanese Dr. Light.
I really like her a lot.
She's really cool. I really loved, and it's something that we read more recently. I really love Earth 2 Robin and Huntress.
Oh, yeah.
And I think their ending is really, really tragic. But they do die under a pile of rocks. Spoilers for a 30-year-old comic. But I really enjoyed revisiting them, and also Helena is dressed impeccably in her street clothes.
And we're going to get a Helena Wayne in the Crisis because she's the Helena from Birds of Prey, the old TV show.
Yeah. Kareem Fowler asks, which Earth will end up being the sole Earth after Crisis? Smallville, New Flash, or 90s Flash?
I assume you mean with New Flash, the Grant Gustin.
The Arrowverse.
Of course, it's the Arrowverse.
Yeah,
they're
just going to slam Supergirl and Black Lightning into it.
Yeah, it's going,
because that's the path of least resistance, and this is television. This is the CW.
Because here's the thing. We know the Arrowverse has episodes next year.
Yeah.
Right?
Because we know shows have been renewed.
They didn't announce that all these shows are only getting half seasons. Flash has a full season of 22 episodes. Supergirl has a full season of 22 episodes. Black Lightning has a full season of 22 episodes. Legends has 15, but Legends starts after the crossover. And then Batwoman has, I think, 13, or I don't know if she has the full 20 either. Anyways.
But that's like 100 episodes of television.
They would never set it on an Earth that...
They have to build new sets for.
Well, no, of a show that's canceled.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Arrowverse. Yeah, and you're right. They're just going to slam Black Lightning and Supergirl are now going to be in the Arrowverse on the one Earth. But we will, I guarantee you, this crossover, no more multiverse.
I agree.
It's over.
Until
they bring it back.
Final Crisis.
Well, until they do their Infinite Crisis and bring it back. Yeah, which will probably be season 10.
Yeah. Wesley Marshall asks, what do you think will be the lasting effect of this crossover? Essentially, do we think that the choices and changes, the big ones, will stay the same? Also, how long do you think these shows will last post-Crisis? Well, Arrow won't last post-Crisis, except for 2 episodes.
The biggest legacy of this crossover, and to me, it's going to be the thing that this crossover lives and dies on, is how does it handle the exit of Oliver Queen?
I agree.
Because if they pull this off, if they give a great ending to Oliver Queen, to our Oliver Queen. Because I also have a prediction that our Oliver Queen dies very early on. And then we see other Oliver Queens. And then we get...
that'd be cool.
And then we get sort of... Arrow's... Is this a 2-episode epilogue with the other characters? And then maybe we see Oliver again one more time in heaven, the heaven dimension, like we've seen in that story.
Yeah,
Anyways,
under Monitor's coat.
so that, to me, is the legacy. Because it will be interesting to see that whatever happens to the Arrowverse past this... we as fans could be like, ah, man, like 20 years down the road when we're watching Red Arrow and all these other shows that are a completely different universe, we could be saying like, yeah, it pops up on Netflix Plus, and we're like, hey, should I watch Arrow? And you're like, oh yeah, you should watch Arrow until Crisis on Infinite Earths because it's like a perfect ending. It's a perfect encapsulation.
I will say, in a post-Avengers Endgame world, my fear with Crisis on Infinite Earths
is it'll never be able to beat it.
Is that by the time we end it, if it is excellent, I have this feeling about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like Endgame has closed the books, and
too.
I am finding myself questioning, do I honestly need more? I know not everyone feels the same way, but that's just how I'm feeling right now.
Because how can you top it? You can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's nothing that I'm interested in, but I wonder if Crisis and whatever end we give Oliver as the granddaddy of this universe, if that is going to feel the same way. Like, are we going to close that chapter and be like, I don't know if I need it anymore. So the legacy could be, I mean, I know they went on for 10 more years, but that's really the end. You know, like people say that the ending of Supernatural Season 5 is the real end.
That's when the original showrunner left.
The second to last episode of Enterprise is the actual finale of Enterprise. I wonder if it's going to have that effect on the universe.
It could. Now, I will say, I am going into this crossover positive. Because
absolutely.
As they, to me, have pulled off every previous crossover.
Yeah.
Now, we had problems with Elseworlds. I still thought it was great.
Oh, yeah, liked some better than others, of course.
But they were still, I still call them, they've all been B pluses or better.
Absolutely.
And so to me, I'm going into Crisis being like, this is going to be a B plus or better. Like, they're going to pull it off because they know how to do it. And because of the extras, it's going to be great. The other thing about this is that whatever they do next, because they're not going to stop the crossovers.
No.
Because of the way the event The Crisis is and how it's set up, Crisis is going to do for Oliver Queen what Comic Book Crisis did for Barry Allen. It's going to give us a back door to always be able to bring Stephen Amell back.
It's also going to immortalize him in the canon of this world.
So the greatest thing about it is that next year or the year after that or the year after that, if they pull this off.
When Stephen Amell has another kid and needs to put them through college, he'll come back.
He'll come back every year. I'm putting that.
He'll be the Tommy Merlin of the universe.
And they will pay him through the nose to do it.
To get him back. Hey, they paid for Tom Welling, and you know he was expensive, so.
When he shows up again, if they pull off his death, and if this event is positively received, I'm trying to compare it to another moment because there's other television shows where you see dead characters. It's like, spoilers for Lost, when Charlie shows up again in the final episode of Lost, it is like the minute you see him, it's almost immediate tears because you're like, oh my God, we haven't seen him for 4 seasons. And it's like, it hurts you. If they pull off this, it'll be the same thing with Oliver Queen. Every time they bring Stephen Amell back, you'll be like, You'll feel it. And that's a great legacy, I think.
There you go. Cody Bond asks, Theory of the Week.
Hi, Cody.
Jason's secret project is he got hired by Disney Plus to write and produce West Coast Avengers.
I wish. Oh, man. Tell Disney Plus.
But seriously, do you guys think with the sheer amount of characters and actors they're bringing into this crossover, there will be enough to cover everything, or will this end up being super convoluted and overwhelming for the viewers? I think that is the worst possible scenario because
it's a valid concern.
Because they could be trying to serve too many masters. We're trying to serve the narratives of all of the respective shows, plus give Tom Welling his due, plus give every other guest
plus give Oliver Queen his due.
Their due, plus send off Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. And like Jason said, we are trying to go into it positive and just assume that honestly Tom Welling is going to be in one episode, a couple scenes. Honestly, Brandon Routh, Superman, one episode, a couple scenes.
Can I add, there is a, and you brought it up a couple questions ago, there is a perfect comparison for this.
Yes.
Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
Avengers Endgame had a cameo from literally everybody of the 20 previous
And
movies.
there are moments where it does get a little lost in the weeds, but the overall picture's quite good.
But the overall movie is about the original 7.
yeah.
So I think we're going to have, and I think we've talked about this, I think it's Flash, it's Barry Allen Flash, it's Kara, it's
Sarah.
it's Ray Palmer the Atom.
Yeah.
It's
Batwoman.
Tyler Hoechlin Superman,
Jefferson.
Black Lightning,
And then Arrow.
and then some version of Oliver Queen.
Yeah, because like that's your like.
Or
like
you know what?
Without Ollie, that's your 7. That's your classic Justice League lineup.
I'm gonna say it's not Ollie. I'm gonna say it's Diggle.
Even better.
I'm gonna say I
pro Diggle.
guys. I have a feeling, and again, remember I brought up before that I predicted the end of Arrow season 4, and everyone thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now.
Actually, a bunch of people like to tell us they remember that.
I'm calling it right now. My Arrow prediction powers are telling me.
Is your arrow sense tingling?
Yes, my Arrow sense is tingling. I would say my quiver is tingling, but that gets weird. I don't want to go there. Okay? Pull your mind out of that gutter. Okay, here we go. My sense is telling me that our Oliver Queen, forgive my Midwest, our Oliver Queen dies in the first 60 minutes of Crisis.
You said earlier that you thought he died quite early.
I think, because if they don't do it early, it's 5 parts, right?
Over 2 months.
And they've already announced, so we get 3 parts now, and we don't get the other 2 parts until late January. And they've already told us Oliver Queen dies in this thing.
So that means it has to happen early. They're not going to leave episode 5 reveal. They're not going to tell us that already.
If they don't do it early, and then get it off the table, then we're literally like, what else is going to happen? They did this in the first hour. But if they hold it, we're like, well, we know Oliver's going to die sometime.
Yeah.
We know. So that's what I'm saying. I bet you he goes down in the first 60 minutes. So, what was the question?
Oh, that was a question from Cody Bond. Sorry, I was rolling down the next
one. So we know it's going to be about those. So I think it's Diggle. It's going to be about those 8 or 7. I think they are going to call him Justice League. I think this is the time we're going to call him a Justice League. Or Earth 2 Superman will be like, we had a team like that. You should take it. It's called the Justice League.
They should call them the Justice Society. Because we have a Justice League movie.
No, it'll be Justice League. It'll be Justice League. We might... Now... You might get Kingdom Come Superman being like, in our Earth, it was called the Justice Society. And then somebody's like, it seems too old. How about the Justice League?
Right, because League is in the vernacular.
Oh, actually, I forgot. No, Cisco's going to be on this team. We know Cisco Vibe's going to be on this team. I bet you he names them the Justice League.
Cool.
But I think everybody else...
One episode, couple scenes.
1 episode max.
Yeah.
And I think it's those 7 characters.
All right, we have 3 final questions from Jeremy Skinner,
Hey!
deep friend of the pod.
Jeremy Skinner and Cody Bond.
Yes.
Wait, Cody Bond is from Toronto?
Yeah, we hung out with Cody Bond when we were in Toronto.
That's right. Travis is our patron that's also from
Well,
Tulsa.
Travis is Cody Bond's Travis Cody Bond.
Oh no, there's a who am I? There's a gentleman. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. I feel so bad. There's another gentleman that lives in Tulsa. We met him at San Diego a couple years ago.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm it's late.
It is late. So, Jeremy asks...
Good friend of the podcast, Jeremy Skinner.
Being that it's unlikely...
Future co-host of the Lost podcast.
Being that it's unlikely we'll see any DCEU actors in Crisis, if you could pick one guest actor to appear, who would it be?
It's a great question. Who?
I mean, I said this on an Instagram story. I want Ben Affleck to be the CW Batman. Pay him whatever he wants. He's a great Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2 choices. 3 choices. There's one that I would love. I'm going to save them for last. The most obvious candidate is Ray Fisher as Cyborg.
Ooh, he's so good!
Because he's worked on television before. He's the least famous-y of all of them.
Yeah, so probably the least expensive. And let's not pretend that that's not a consideration.
If you wanted everybody to take Aquaman serious in this world, Jason Momoa. Get Jason Momoa to do one scene. But the end-all, be-all DCEU person who should be in this crossover and won't be beyond being on television monitor, probably playing in the background. We're going to see the DCU people on television monitors. I'm I'm
like
calling that right
Day
now.
of the Doctor, where we
Yep.
saw all of them come by with old footage.
The one that needs to be in this crossover, Wonder Woman.
Ah, which Wonder Woman?
Gal Gadot.
Ah.
Gal Gadot needs to be the representation of this
this universe and what that looks like. All right, Jeremy's second question is, what storyline, if any, would you like to see adapted next year? I think he means for the crossover.
For the next year's crossover. I don't know. That's a tough one. What do you have any feelings about this?
I mean, no.
Okay, they've done Invasion.
I mean, Infinite Crisis?
They basically did the crisis. They did the Two Worlds.
Yeah.
Earth
X.
Which was Earth X. They did Elseworlds, a version of Elseworlds. This is Crisis. I don't think you can do Infinite Crisis because you can't go bigger than this. So you have to go smaller next year. What would be a small DCEU or DCU story that you could do that wouldn't be that crazy? You know what would be a fun one?
No.
Do Final Night.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Final Night's the DCU storyline where the sun goes out, this alien thing shows up, and the sun goes down, and the world goes into, the sun goes out, and it goes into panic and stuff like that. I think that's a great one. Final Night would be a great one. It'd be a very easy one. If you wanted to do a more personal one, you could do some version of Tower of Babel.
Oh, interesting.
Make Batwoman the one that has the plans on everybody.
Yeah.
And then they all get mad at her, especially since she's the new kid. That would be a very interesting storyline. It also wouldn't cost that much. You can't go cosmic-y. That's the thing about this. After this one, you can't go cosmic. You have to go small. So.
Okay, and then Jeremy's third question is, if this crisis unifies all Earths into one, like the book, do you think that's a wise decision for these shows?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that Supergirl wasn't on this Earth to begin with.
It's ridiculous that Black Lightning wasn't just on the Earth anyway, and they just said it was in... Look, the ultimate thing about all this stuff is that they introduced Batwoman into the show, even though Arrow was already established as the first hero in this world. And you know what? Fine, whatever. Comic books, I'll let you slide. So to me, after they did that, I was like, yeah, so Supergirl's just on the other coast. Whoopity-doo-dah.
Yeah.
And Black Lightning's down south where Atlanta is. Okay. Just because we haven't seen them, I think it's a smart idea because I always put the argument about my mom. My mom doesn't know anything about these shows. And if I were to tell her that Supergirl's on a different Earth, Earth 39, my mom would be like, what?
Yeah, she wouldn't understand what that
meant. As far as my
meant.
mom's concerned, she's on the same Earth. So yeah, I actually think it's a smart decision.
I do too. And then the last bits of news that I wanted to talk about, Jason, you being such a big Superman fan, we have confirmation of Brandon Routh. He's officially confirmed to be Kingdom Come Superman. The last time
I think we talked about it in one of the Crisis
Well, the
calls.
last time we talked about him, we didn't know that for sure.
Yes.
He was just coming to be Superman. Now we know. And then obviously Tom Welling.
Tom Welling is the confirmation.
Talk about Tom Welling, because we've gone back and forth on that for such a long time.
Look, all I have to say is this, is that Tom Welling solidifies the legitimacy of this crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that he has that much power, but it's true. These shows would not exist without Tom Welling Smallville. And him being here legitimizes this crossover.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really does. And it made this crossover more real. I know that's weird to say, but it is. Without having somebody from Smallville here.
They had Erica Durance before they had Tom Welling.
And I would have been happy with her.
Yeah.
But Tom being here is what really makes this the big deal. To be honest with you, it's Tom and it's getting Brandon Routh to put on the Superman suit. It's always the Superman. It's always the Superman that really solidify this thing as being solid. Now, again, they will push this over the top if we get a Linda Carter as a Wonder Woman character.
Mm-hmm.
If she is some version of Hippolyta Dinah Prince, that will be...
She could be Earth 2 Wonder Woman.
She can be Earth 2 Wonder Woman. That will be the third level of just like, oh my God, television will never be able to beat... This will be history making. Mm-hmm. It really will. And I think it'll hold some sort of record as connecting the most television shows.
I think it will, because we're not counting the theory about the kid with the snow globe. Jason, I want to ask you one...
Tommy...
Elliot.
No. Not Hush. Jeremy Skinner would know because we talked about it.
I don't care because I think that theory is stupid.
Tommy Westfall.
I want to ask you one final question.
Tommy Westfall universe.
Of all of the pictures that have stopped shaking, this isn't a crisis. Just LA is on fire. So the skies are kind of red.
Yeah.
Of all of the pictures that we have seen come out, all the set pictures, all the Instagram pictures, all the leaked photos, what picture were you most excited to see? Or what video were you most excited by or did you think was the funniest?
Have there been videos?
Well, there's the one where Stephen Amell actually fell asleep.
Oh, on his final day.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And Grant Gustin's like, what?
I'd love to hear your thought about it. I don't really know. What's your feeling on it?
For me, I really liked the first picture of Lila, of course, in the Harbinger
great.
suit. She's so beautiful and looks so great. Like the way they updated her costume.
It's really good.
It's so smart and really works for the universe. And then I loved the big group shot where we saw Tom Cavanaugh in the Pariah suit for the first time.
And Kingdom Come Superman.
Which I shared on the Geek History lesson. And someone said, who is Tom Cavanaugh dressed as? And I even though
somebody doesn't watch Crisis Club.
I wrote, they don't, because I know this person isn't a patron.
Oh, that's fine.
And I wrote that look, he's Pariah. How cool is it that he's Pariah? I just thought you would have said that first picture where we saw them all as Superman together. And you were like, wow, Tyler Hoechlin is short.
That was a really good one. No, the one, and it is an early one. The one that got me was Tom Welling and Erica Durant's.
Yeah.
In front of the barn.
Which I think she shared.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
She's been a really good, helpful person to all the people seeking spoilers about Crisis. She's been posting a lot of pictures. She's a very good picture of her, the two Loises together.
Her and Bitsy Tulloch, yeah.
But because that came out the day after they announced him as Tom Welling, which I find was very funny because I was like, they were like, oh, we have to announce this or somebody will leak it.
Well, or they announced it and she called her publicist and said, so I can share this, right?
She's gone on to a pretty big show. Saving Hope's a pretty big show.
She's a get for them.
To be honest, she might have more power than them. She might not have asked permission.
But if that's true.
Which is the ultimate Lois Lane move.
But if people don't know, when you do appear on a show, you can usually take all the photos you want. But you have a publicist. Yep. They have a publicist. They have to talk to each other.
Or it's usually the idea you cannot share it until the episode is aired.
Yes, yeah.
Usually that's the understanding. No, her and Tom arm in arm in front of the old Smallville barn is great. Because I have said this, and I've said this to you, that if we get the chance to go to Vancouver and I have a car, we are driving to that farm. We are, even though I think it's like 3 hours outside of Vancouver, we are going to that farm. And if the people that own that farm were smart, they would sell tours of the place.
They would rent it out. They'd rent out a room.
They'd Airbnb it because
they could charge so
crazy
much money.
fools like me would buy it.
So if you own that farm,
and we know you do. We know you're a member of Crisis Club. You must be one of our 400 patrons. We know you are.
There you go.
Come on, let's use the game of telephone. Somebody in our patrons has got to know those farm owners. What are we talking about now?
That's it. Kyle Gerbrandt, he lives in Western Canada. He knows.
Who?
Kyle Gerbrandt. We met him at Emerald City Comic Con.
Yes.
Was Lance Kaminsky who you were thinking of?
No. I'm pretty certain it's a Cody. I apologize. We met in San Diego. You live in Tulsa. And
I can literally picture your Twitter.
I know you, buddy, and I apologize. It's so late. I'm sorry.
Please comment and tell us that we suck, and we'll apologize.
You live in Tulsa. You went to your first San Diego. We met at the Hoopla booth. I know exactly who you are, and you're still a patron, and you're amazing. I can't remember your name. It's like Travis or Cody or Bill. I don't know. Or Jack.
This has been a great mailbag.
I apologize. And if this loses you, our patronage, I apologize. So bad. I'm sorry. You know what? We have one more of these?
Yeah. We're going to do one after all 12 episodes of Crisis Club are made public in November. We have thrown around the idea that maybe that's going to be reviewing the crossover episodes up to that point, or maybe it's going to be another more conversational mailbag like this. TBD.
Yeah, we don't know. I'm going to put this out there.
We'll learn your name in time for the fourth mailbag.
Let me know. I think it's Travis. Travis? Is it Travis? I don't know.
Tom Trainer.
I don't know. It's not Tom Trainer. He's a lovely patron, though. I'm going to put this out there.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty excited.
Okay.
Should I use this crossover as an excuse to finally buy the Kingdom Come Superman t-shirt? And I'll wear it in the final mailbag. What do you think? If you guys think so, I'll use it. I'll
use those powers.
I will bite the bullet and do it because I've been holding
let
off.
me twist your arm.
I know it's pretty tough, and I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I don't know where we're going with this. This is fun. Can we say what we think, or give some hints of what we think the next book club might be?
Oh, you mean the next club?
The next club for next
book
year.
club is Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so we'll keep the other one secret.
I mean, look, if people looked at the poll results, which are public to our patrons, they know.
Okay, guys, hey, we're doing another book club next year. You'll find out what it is.
It's not a book club.
You got it. It's going to be a fun one. I just bought the giant omnibus.
I will say it's not a story that I'm excited about. But
It's a
if
good story.
the
It's a good-
patrons are excited about it,
It's a good story.
we'll see how it goes.
It's a good story. So, yeah, there we go. We're just mumbling now. Guys, thank you so much for your support.
video
I have
was
fun.
so long.
I have fun doing with these mailbags. I love these mailbags. This is, I know we did the announcement, like, we couldn't review Arrow and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I would love to do just videos like this, man. Like, this is just fun. And Crisis, I'll tell you what, Crisis Club has been so much better than I ever could have predicted it.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever could have predicted it. You know what we should do? You should grab one of the pins over there, and we should show them on camera.
Oh, okay.
I don't know when they're seeing this, but we're just going to keep this video going. Here, you can see it out of focus, guys. This is the Crisis Club pin. Hopefully Ashley can push in on that.
Or maybe I'll just take a picture of it and insert it over the video here. I probably will forget.
Ashley will take a picture of this. There you go. You can see it. It's Crisis Club. It's Crisis Club pin.
Yeah, we're shipping those.
I'll put it out of focus. There you go. So you can see it. It's so out of focus.
We're
Isn't that
gonna
great?
be shipping those out literally like next week.
That's your pin.
That's
your pin
once,
that you get.
Once
It's so
all the
cool.
November pledge is clear, those are gonna be going out. I'll say this here: we haven't made this totally public yet. If you didn't sign up and you were not able to be a member of Crisis Club for all 10 months, which is the criteria to get the pin for free, we are thinking about offering them to sell to the patrons at a very
Or anybody that wasn't part of Crisis Club.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
At a very
But they wouldn't be
reasonable
seeing this.
price. But there are people who seeing this who only became members of Crisis Club last month or last week. You know, and
Because the requirement was all 10 months.
those are the people who are getting them for free. We have a couple left over, so we're thinking about letting you have a whack at them because if not, then intern Brago's going to have to wear them all himself.
No, that's going to be his food for the next year.
I mean, in a pinch, he has some sharp teeth. He could probably make it happen.
I'm Jason Inman.
I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Crisis Club Mailbag.